Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing some cooking out here in the garage. Fun for you to do that you can do at home with your kids, by yourself, with your dog. You know, we're going to make some fire starters.
Thought we were gonna cook here.
No, we're not gonna cook here.
I learned to do this when I was a kid with wax and flammable things and egg cartons. I made a bunch of them with my kids the other day. We sat outside, melted wax over a fire, and made a big mess outside. Had a lot of fun. I'm going to make some more. I'm going to show you how I make these. They're very easy to make. So if you didn't learn how to do this when you were a kid, I am going to show you. First thing you're going to need is some egg cartons. If you buy a lot of eggs, like we do, you might have these flats. These seem to be a little thinner than egg cartons. So we used these last time and the wax kind of leaked through them. So if you have these, you might want to double up on them. So once you've got your egg carton, you're going to need some wax. Now wax isn't too hard to find. You just walk around your house and you gather all of your wife's scented candles and you're just going to melt all of those down. If your wife objects to you taking her scented candles, or if she doesn't have any, or if you don't have a wife with scented candles, you can use any kind of wax. You can melt down old candles. You can just buy wax. This is some blocks of paraffin wax. I found this on Amazon. Once you've got some wax, then you need some flammable material to fill the egg carton with. If you have a washer and dryer, you probably have a lot of dryer lint. This seems to mostly be made of dog hair, but this burns really easily, which is why you need to be cleaning your dryer out so it doesn't light on fire and burn your house down. Another thing that works really well is shredded paper. If you have a paper shredder at home, you can use that, or you can just tear up paper, old newspaper, packing paper, whatever. I just grabbed some old junk mail and shredded papers here. And last but not least, wood shavings. You can use sawdust too. You can make these big long shavings like this if you have access to a chainsaw. Run your chainsaw parallel to the wood grain on a log. Even a little puny electric chainsaw like I have gets these nice wood shavings out. If you don't have that, just any type of wood shavings will work. Once you've gathered all of your stuff, you're also going to need something to melt wax in. You can use whatever you want. I'm using this coffee can. It's all burned from doing this out on the fire the other day. And some way to melt the wax. I bought a hot plate to use for projects out here in the garage because there's some things I just don't want to burn and melt in the house. First thing we're going to do is get our wax melting. Paraffin wax that I'm using comes in these 1 pound chunks like this. So we're just going to melt a whole chunk in the can here. This will go a lot faster if we break this up. So there's our pound of wax broken up in there. We're just going to turn this thing on and melt that. So while that's melting, let's fill up our egg carton. So what I want to do is use all of these different materials here to see which of these fire starters burns the best. We're going to take some of these wood shavings, really cram your burnable material down into the egg carton. You can pack this in pretty tight. Some of those might be a little too full, but that's okay. Next, I'm going to take paper. I'm just going to stuff paper in the middle row here. Last here, we're going to put some lint, dryer lint, kind of tucked down in each one of these. I'm just going to slip a piece of cardboard underneath this just because when you pour wax in there, sometimes it will leak or drip. So I'm going to try and avoid that as much as I can. So wax is mostly melted now. There's still a few chunks in there, but I don't think I need all of the wax. We're going to go ahead and start pouring the wax in here. So start here. Just want to go slow with this. I probably could pour this whole pound of wax into those, but I don't need to fill them up. I mostly just need to make sure everything is very well saturated, and that looks pretty good. Make sure you let it set long enough that all of the wax hardens all the way through, because if you pick it up and move it around and the wax hasn't hardened, you're just going to dump hot wax all over things, and that's not fun. Pretty cold in the garage. It's like 28 degrees or something, so this shouldn't take too long to harden up at all.
2,000 years later.
That took a very long time for that wax to set up. Next thing we're going to do is cut these individual egg carton bits apart. You're going to need either your trauma shears, or you can use a box cutter. You can leave them together and just cut one off when you need it, or tear one off when you need it. I like to cut them up and put them in a can or a bag or something and just have them already taken apart. And what I find easiest is to flip it over and then either use the scissors or the box cutter and cut along all these ridges in between the cartons on the bottom. Box cutter works very well for that. So we're just going to cut each one of these. All right, then if you flip it over, should be able to just kind of tear these apart. So there we've got our fire starters. I've got 6 full of paper, 6 full of wood shavings, and 6 full of dryer lint. The dryer lint ones are definitely the most dense, and the wax soaked into those ones the most. What I'm going to do now is take these inside, and we're going to burn one of each of these. We're going to see how long it takes for them to burn, which of these burns the fastest or slowest, and so we'll do a little test. That is basically it. You have some old candles, you can steal your wife's candles, use up those ends and the wax that's left in the bottom of all the candles, some dryer lint, some wood shavings, some shredded junk mail and bills, a couple egg cartons. You can make some great fire starters. It's a fun project. Give it a try. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all of you guys, and I'll see you next time.